It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Joint practice observation between the Texans and the Panthers.
That would be Sarge.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You tune into the Texans Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates for all your winery needs. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk. Right now, we are live at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk. And make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. What's going on, y'all? Hey, Alexis, what's going on? Hey, hold on. Listen, let me tell y'all something before we even get started. It's Thursday. The Houston Texans do not practice on Friday. Do you know what that means? I get to start my happy hour early. I get to get some libations. Because I ain't got to work tomorrow. Check that out. Yes, Lord. You know, normally I come in here, I be like, I just got to drink a little water because I got to work tomorrow, but I ain't got to work tomorrow. Woo! Once again, tuned to the Texas Happy Hour. I'm your host, Big Sarge. What's going on, everybody? Okay, before we even get started. So I had the honor and the pleasure of participating in my third annual. It was my third annual. It's the fourth annual event, but I got a chance to cook with Cal. So for those of you all don't know, the owner and CEO Cal McNair, at the end of the fans portion of open practice, at the end of the very last open practice that they have for the fans, Houston Texans owner Cal McNair will grill. Now, this is the special thing about it, right? This is the special thing about it. There's only a certain amount of people who are invited to grill. Usually it's Cal and like 3 other people. It's like Cal and 3 other people, right? So it's Cal, and then it's this year it was Clint Sterner from Sports Radio 610. And then it's Sean Pendergast, who I think has done it for like 4 years in a row. It was him. Then it was yours truly, Big Sarge, right? One reason I like it is because I get to laugh and joke not only with the guys, but so Cal McNair is really funny, right? And he has a lot of these dad jokes that he tells, but he's really funny. I like talking to him. I get an opportunity to chop it up with him, talk with him. And wait, hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. I got to put this up. Sarge, you look like you and Sean need some pointers on the grill. It's really cool to see you doing stuff like that. I'm so happy. Hey, I appreciate that, my fellow Greek brethren. I'm him is a newt. Hey, I appreciate that. Look, I know we laugh, joke, play with each other, but, you know, first we're, you know, African-American males in a Greek-led organization that always got to look out for each other first. And then we get to joke on each other about, you know, who came first. Hey, oh, somebody who said that? Who? Wait, who? Oh, who did that? So anyway, I got an opportunity to cook with Cal on today. I'm always gracious. Can y'all hear me? I'm always gracious for the people who will come out and say something to me and speak to me. Because I need that. I don't know everybody. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know everybody. So when you come up to me, hold up, backing, packing, never lacking, cracking. Hey, the guy chapter Alpha Turn to Incorporated. What's going on, Phil? I just had to put up one of my chapter bros who I'm gonna tell y'all some of them stories later on about. We went through our process. Our process. I mean, I've been in the frat. In November, it'll be 27 years. So my statute of limitations has ran out. Yeah, I'll tell y'all about how I got hazed. Yeah, Vil, I'm gonna put you on the spot too one day, but not today. But I got an opportunity to meet a lot of people. And if you see me out, hey, let me tell y'all something about me. And we're gonna get this show started in just a second. But let me tell y'all something about me. If you see me out, speak to me. Cause I'm gonna speak back. I don't consider myself no better than anybody else when it comes to speaking. Now, in this content creative space, I think I'm the best. And if I don't think I'm the best, then who in the hell will? So in this content creative space, in this media space, hell yeah, I think I'm the best. I ain't gonna think nobody better than me. But if I'm out and you see me, speak to me so I can speak back, because if you recognize me, I may not recognize you. But sometimes the only thing I see is a name, a screen name. So if I'm out and you see me, be like, what's up, Sarge? I'll be like, hey man, what's going on? I come up, I introduce myself. I want to talk to you. I'll chop it up with you, and then I'll let you go on, because I'm old, y'all, and I talk a lot. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but I talk a lot. So one of the most humbling things, and one of the most humbling things, but one of the things that happened to me that made me say, damn, Sarge, you doing the right thing. So in West Virginia, right? And we were in West Virginia. The practices were at Greenbrier and White Sulphur Springs, but we were in some of us from the media stayed in Lewisburg, which is about 15-20 minutes down the road, right? And so I got there on Sunday. I checked in on Sunday, and then on Thursday I checked out. After practice, I checked out of the hotel and headed to Minnesota so I could get ready for the preseason game. But Thursday, my colleague who was riding with me to the airport, were checking out, right? So when I got there Sunday, there was a young man that I hadn't seen. I mean, there's a young man that checked me in, and I didn't see him anymore until it was time to leave. So when it was time to leave and check out, he said, hey, are you Sarge? And I'm saying to myself, okay, hold on, wait, time out. We in West Virginia. You asking me, am I Sarge? Okay, sir, there's a couple of things that I need to know before I answer this question. What is your mother's name? Because you ain't finna spring on me. Hey, I'm your long lost son that you never knew you had. You're not finna spring that on me. One. Two, you're not finna spring that on me and then tell me I owe back child support. Like, that's just a couple of things, right? Three, who your peoples is, because I don't know if I did somebody in your family wrong. So before I say yes, I am, I need some questions answered. Like, who is you? Nah, I don't really do that. I just said, yeah, that's me, man. How you doing? I said, but you checked me in, right? He's like, yeah. He said, I thought that was you when I checked you in, because my father-in-law watches you. He's a huge sports fan and he really likes watching the Texans. But my father-in-law likes you, man. He watches your stuff. And I said, all the way in West Virginia? It's like, damn, that's amazing. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah Rivers. Hey, one day we're gonna have a talk, because John Denver didn't really make that song about West Virginia. It's actually about Western Virginia. We'll talk about that later. But man, it sure felt good to be recognized, for the work that I put in. So as I digress, that just made me feel good, man. Cooking with Cal today, with Cal McNair made me feel good because he always Cal has dry humor. He got dad jokes. Like he got dad jokes for days. I'm a dad joke type of guy too, because Cal McNair has younger kids, right? He has younger kids, so he has these dad jokes that he loves to tell. You got these dad jokes that he loves to tell. Let me see where you getting that shirt. I got this shirt from the team store. But he got these dad jokes that he loves to tell. Look, I'm a pawpaw, y'all. My two of my grandbaby. No, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four of my grandbabies just started school. 2 in New Orleans and 2 in Florida. My 2 grandbabies in New Orleans, yeah, they just started school, and their mom is teaching for the first time, teaching first grade. So I'm a pawpaw. So I love dad jokes. I'm a dad joke. I'm king of the the dad jokes. So with that being said, Cal be telling these dad jokes and I be laughing. I don't know if you all seen the clip that I had put out when he's talking about, so I have on the H right now, but what the Houston Texans are doing is on their apparel only, they're branding the T, because Cal says he's always wanted a T for the Texans. And so I wish I had that hat. It's in the other room, but he has this T. And then we were talking about, I was like, hey man, do you get excited, during the first, are you excited during, the beginning of training camp and games? He's like, yeah. I said, me too, man. I paid out my clothes and everything. He said, me too. I put out my t-shirt, get it? T-shirt. And I was like, funny to me. I love dad jokes. So anyway, got a chance to chop it up with him, man. So that was cool. That was real cool. All right. Once again, tune into the Texas Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates for all your winery needs. They will ship to you great, great, great wine. Great, great, great wine. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. So the Houston Texans and the Carolina Panthers, who will play on Saturday in their second preseason game, had a joint practice on Thursday, and was out there, and I got a chance to observe. Now, I will say this. I didn't observe the offense as much as I observed the defense. And the reason why, I'm going to tell you why. I did that on purpose. Don't get me wrong now. Hold on. I'm going to talk about the offense because I did go and watch the offense as well. But I didn't watch the offense as much because they were on the front field. The the offense was on the front field going against the Panthers defense. And, with the fans in attendance, and there's a lot of content creators who attend these open practices. So when they attend these open practices, they keep you updated on what's going on. They take a lot of video. They shoot a lot of video. So, from that aspect, from whichever content creator that you follow, whichever Texas content creator you follow, they're going to give you the up to the minute updates on everything that's going on. They're going to show you they're going to show you everything that they're seeing. They're going to talk about it, and they're going to give it to you in real time. And for us in the media, we only get there's a certain cutoff point that we can that we can shoot. And then what I mean by shoot, I'm talking about taking pictures and videos and things like that. After a certain period, they say, okay, you got to put your cameras down. That's it for shooting for today, right? And so with the fans in attendance, they're going to give you the rest of the everything that we're not able to record. So I purposely went to the backfield because, one, I wanted to watch the defense. I wanted to watch that first team defense. And I wanted to hold on. I gotta write something down, y'all, because there's something that's starting to bother me when it comes to the Texans second team defense. And we're gonna talk about that today too, because I haven't been around y'all in a minute. So y'all got to deal with me for a second. So I went to the backfield so I could watch the Texans defense and get video footage of there. And because, on the backfield, there's not a lot that the fans can see from the stands. Like they can see, but I have a better view from where I'm at. So if they're giving you what the offense is doing, then I like to go and give you updates on everything else that's happening. Now, I didn't get an opportunity to stick around and ask questions today because I had to go to that event. Um, I had to go to that event, so I'll get an opportunity to speak with CJ Stroud here soon. Will Anderson Jr. soon, and hopefully after the game, I'll get an opportunity to speak to Bryce Young. But after the game on Saturday, so I am going to talk about the offense. But like I said, I didn't get an opportunity to see the offense as much. Like I didn't see Nico's touchdown. I only seen it on the clip, so I didn't see that. I was on the backfield. And I have, if you follow me on Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, you're going to see that I have a lot of footage that I'm putting out as far as the defense is concerned. And we'll get into that in just a second. But a couple of my observations from Thursday's joint practice between the Texans and the Panthers. First things first. It was good to see Texan safety CJ Gardner-Johnson back on the field, not playing, not participating in practice, but he was out. He was walking. He had a sleeve on his right leg, but he was out there, and him and rookie safety Jalen Reed were out there. And just watching the way CJ Gardner-Johnson moved, it gave me more optimism that he will be back. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I was told that he was going to be out a significant amount of time. I don't know what, if he can run or not. I'm not sure on how he's moving on that leg. I just know that he's walking with a slight limp. And, some people told me that he was going to be out probably until the third game, maybe the fourth game of the season. But I'm pretty sure that he's working hard and rehabbing. And I'll find more out on Saturday about the way that he's rehabbing and what he's doing. And so it was good to see him out there. Jalen Reed, who would have been able to take advantage of this opportunity that he had with CJ Gardner-Johnson being out. He would have gotten playing time, but he's also hurt. He has a knee brace. I think that according to Aaron Wilson from KPRC2, he's going to be out another 3 weeks. But it was good to see both of those players out there. And let me tell you something about CJ Gardner-Johnson, y'all. If y'all haven't noticed, right? CJ Gardner-Johnson is not a quiet guy. No matter what he's doing, where he's at, he's not a quiet guy. So even on the sidelines, he was giving them referees double hockey sticks. When I tell you he was giving those refs the business, but also still talking to the defensive backs and talking to the defense, talking about what he's seen, and talking to MJ Stewart. And talking to Kalen Bullock. I was very impressed by the way that CJ Gardner-Johnson was out there in the way that what he was doing as far as helping still coach, be a part of the team. But seeing him walk, like that's the update. That's why I put that I had to put that clip out quickly, because I wanted you all to see that he is walking. He is moving, and I don't know how long he's going to be out now. I'm going to try to find that information out for you on Saturday and have it for you for Sunday's Texas Happy Hour. But I talked about CJ Gardner-Johnson. I talked about Jalen Reed. Y'all, listen. Hey, come closer. Come closer. Let me say something real quick. I was in attendance. We all watched. I was in attendance at the game. I watched. I seen it happen in real time. You all watched it on television. We all seen the gruesome, horrific injury that Tank Dell sustained in week 16 against the Kansas City Chiefs in the back of the end zone. We all watched that. We all watched that. And at the time, it was happening, what did we say? Hey man, Tank gonna be out for a minute. Like that was just horrific. And then, kept saying, hey, Tank gonna be out for a minute, man. Tank gonna be out for a minute. Tank gonna be out for a minute. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Every time I see Tank, I seen Tank starting when we was at the Rockets games, and I seen him walking, and he was walking with a bad limp. But every time after that, I seen Tank walking better and better and better and better. And when I seen Tank at the joint practice on Thursday, didn't have a limp. I don't know how much running he's doing. I don't know how much running Tank is doing. I don't know how much cutting he's able to do. All I'm gonna say is this. Do we believe that Tank should be out for the whole season so he can rehab that leg fully? Probably. Like we all probably, because we're still in the back of our minds, we're still going back and replaying the play that he got hurt on. We're still replaying that play in the back of our minds. And we're saying to ourselves, there's no possible way that you can come back from that. And what is this? So that happened in December. So what are we? 9 months removed from that injury, going on 9 months or whatever the case may be. Yeah, no possible way, Tank, you're still gonna be able to come back. But every time I see Tank, he looks better, and he looks better, and he looks better, and he looks better, and he's moving, and just having him out there on the field is motivating for not only himself but for his teammates. And every time I see Tank, he's getting better, he's looking better. I ain't had a lot to drink yet, so this ain't the cup talking. This Sarge talking. Hold on for a second. Y'all, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Tank back on the field this season. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I would not be surprised if we see Tank on the field. Now, and what I mean by on the field, not playing, but at least dressing out. At least dressing out. Because I do feel that the Texans wide receiver core is really strong. And I feel like with what they have right now, they can afford to be without Tank. If we're talking about right now, in August during training camp, I'm not talking about what could happen in the regular season. I'm not talking about if they sustain injuries or whatever the case may be. I'm talking about right now. When I'm looking at Nico Collins, when I'm looking at Jaden Higgins, when I'm looking at Jalen Noel, when I'm looking at Xavier Hutchinson, when I'm looking at John Mechie, when I'm looking at Braxton Berrios, when I'm looking at Justin Watson, hell, what's the rookie's name? Hold on, y'all give me a second. Number 85 out of Minnesota. Daniel Jackson. Daniel Jackson probably isn't going to make this team because that wide receiver room is too crowded. But that young man is going to catch on with the team. Remember, you heard it here first from Big Sarge right here on the Texans Happy Hour. Daniel Jackson out of Minnesota is going to catch on with the team. What's up, Patton? I see you. I'm going to get to you too. He's going to catch on with the team. And that young man is going to be something special, barring injury. But that wide receiver room is crowded. There's a lot of competition. Oh, my bad. I forgot Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk is in that wide receiver room as well. Like, there's a lot of competitors and there's a lot of competition in that room. And that room is like overcrowded. And so some of those players, one or two may not make it. One or two may make the team, but they're going to be used on special teams only. But right now, I would say, hey, man, there's no need to rush. And I don't think that Tank Dell is rushing himself back. I really and honestly truly believe he's just going through the process. But because of his work ethic and because of his faith, I don't think that rehabbing that rehabbing and going through the process is the same as going through other people's going through the process. Like, I don't know what it is. Well, let me take that back, y'all. I do know what it is. Hold on for a second. I do know what it is. Because I've had an opportunity to speak with Tank a lot on the record and off the record. But I got an opportunity to meet his parents last year during training camp. Talk to his mom, talk to his dad. So I know where it comes from. I know where Tank's work ethic comes from. But Tank is not only doing it for himself. Tank is not only doing it for his mom and for his dad so they could be proud. Tank has little brothers. And he has one little brother in particular that looks up to him so much, like Tank is his hero. Like that little guy loves Tank to no end. He plays football. He plays football. I don't think they play the same position. I think he played like linebacker and running back, but he loves Tank, and Tank loves him. Tank loves him. Tank, that's Tank's little buddy. That is Tank's little buddy right there. And so I think that a lot of that driving and that motivational factor for Tank is his little brother and how his little brother looks up to him. And so Tank can't stop or quit because he knows that his little brother is looking up to him. Also, if you know Tank Dell's backstory, you know he's had to overcome a lot of adversity, and you know that he's always been considered a small player, and everybody always underestimated him. So when he's in college, he had to prove himself. When he first got into the hey, what's up, Lou? I got to get the towel, Lou. I'm gonna do the towel on tomorrow because it's in the bag. But Tank was counted out in college. Tank was counted out coming into the draft, and all he's ever done is prove himself to others. And so that's what I think is the driving force behind Tank Dell and how he's rehabbing and what he's doing to get himself back on the field. All right, so that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the defensive side of the ball. Let's jump into the Texans defense. Now, before I start, I will say this. Hey, the Texas defense is not going to win every play, y'all. They're not going to win every play. They're not going to be able to beat beat the offense every time. So yeah, there's some plays that they got beat on. Of course, there were some plays that they got beat on. I think Stingley got beat for a touchdown. Stingley got beat for a touchdown. They allowed some, and that was a miscommunication play, but it was still kind of. If you go back and look at the film, you're going to blame Sting, but there was miscommunication between him and the safety. There was a lot of plays that were made in the middle of the field. I'm going to talk about the Carolina Panthers wide receivers here in a minute, but so let me preface my statement by saying that they did get beat. They got beat on a couple of plays, but a lot of that came from the second team. And that's why I said I want to talk about. Of course, like you can't blame rookie cornerback Jalen Smith for having some mishaps on the field. And I'm not trying to make no excuses for him, but he is a rookie and he's still learning. Hell, he's only about to play in his second NFL game, and it's just the second preseason game. So you could tell Bryce Young was picking on him a lot. And Andy Dalton, who's been in the league forever, was picking on him a lot. And he made some plays, but there's a lot of plays that he's going to go back and he's going to look on the film and he's going to say, damn, I could have made that play, or I should have did this, or, Stingley and Kamari and especially cornerbacks coach Dino Basso is going to pull him to the side and they're going to review the film and they're going to say, hey, man, this is what you should have done. So a lot of that. But the second team defensive line looks good. That rotation, that rotation that they bring in there, those defensive linemen that they bring in there, they look good. The linebackers, are getting acclimated. It's the cornerbacks that's going to need some help, though. The cornerbacks are the ones that's going to need help. And like I said, I can give a pass to Jalen Smith. I can't give a pass to D'Angelo Ross. Let me make sure I got his name right. Yep. How long D'Angelo Ross been in this league? D'Angelo Ross has been a part of the National Football League for 4 years. We all remember what D'Angelo Ross is famous for. He was the one that had the epic picture when Amari Cooper, during the regular season 2 years ago, was putting up big numbers on the Houston Texans. He has the epic picture of him on the sidelines with Amari Cooper. D'Angelo Ross is a very good special teamer. D'Angelo Ross is going to need some more work when it comes to playing cornerback. Because when you go back and you watch that Minnesota Vikings game, he ain't look good. And you supposed to look better than the rookie on the other side. He's a rookie. He just not getting his feet wet in the league. This is your 4th season. And you're making the mistakes that the rookie is making. You're making the same, you're making the mistakes that they should go back on film and say, well, Jalen, you're gonna have to look in coverage, you're gonna have to do better right here. They shouldn't have to look at it and say, hey, D'Angelo, you're gonna have to do better. You're gonna have to do better right here. You're gonna have to do, better right here, teaching him like he's a rookie. Nah, you can't do that, man. You cannot be on the opposite side, knowing that they're gonna pick on a rookie, and when he does play good coverage, they just come to your side and pick on you like you're a rookie. Like for real, you're gonna have to step it up, man, or you ain't gonna make this team. Because normally you could be like, hey, I got the special teams to lean back on. But you remember now, on Wednesday, I asked special teams coordinator Frank Ross, all right, man, there's a lot of competition in these rooms. And there are some players who are not going to get playing time at their position, but they're going to be looking to get playing time on special teams. This season, how are you evaluating that? Because there's a lot of overflow coming onto the special teams. And he said, hey, look, you got to win your rep. If you only get 3 reps during the preseason, you better make those 3 reps count. Better make them count, because the Texans aren't just they are not starving for camp bodies anymore. They're not starving for special teams. They got enough people to play special teams. So if you can't perform at your position, and now you're fighting for a position on this team on special teams, but you got people over there showing that on special teams too, what are we talking about here? Like, there's no possible way we should be talking about D'Angelo Ross like he's a rookie. And he got abused last week against the Vikings. And today in that joint practice, I'm saying to myself, all right. Better watch your back, brother. You better watch your back. Now that we got that out the way, let's get to this first team. Hey, when CJ Gardner-Johnson does come back, that defense is going to be hell. That defense is going to be hell. When I tell you that today, that defense was, like I said, they lost some plays, of course, but they was on Bryce Young. Boy, Bryce Young, look up and he's like, what is, hey, yo, hey. I put out a play on social media. Will Anderson Jr. started on the left side. The ball was ran, a run play to the opposite side of him. Will started on the left side. Will made the tackle. Okay, hold on. Give me a second. I got to talk to y'all like Dr. Umar Johnson be talking. Will made the tackle coming from the opposite side of the field. Will made the tackle coming from the opposite side of the field. Will Anderson Jr. came from the left side of the field, navigated through the traffic, and made the tackle on the right side for no gain. Hold on. Maybe I should have, that probably should have been the first part I should have said. The running back didn't gain no yards because Will came straight through. And it was a bunch of traffic. I keep telling y'all over and over and over again, this young man is different. Watching him on television is one thing. This young man is different. He's different, y'all. He's different. And I'm going to be honest with you. Okay. For some, this is going to be blasphemy. For some of you all, what I'm about to say is going to be blasphemy. And I've said it before. I've said this take before. Will Anderson Jr. stays healthy. If he can stay healthy, he'll go down as probably the greatest defensive end to play for the Houston Texans. I know, right? All hell, Sarge. You better not talk about the demigod, J.J. Watt. I know, y'all. I know. J.J. Watt got what, about 1,400? J.J. Watt got about 1,400 defensive players of the year. I know. What he got, like 4? He got like 4 defensive players of the year, right? I know, y'all. I know. J.J. Watt was a monster. Will is like a monster time 10. Like, there is nothing that J.J. Watt did that Will Anderson Jr. cannot do. I'm telling you all. If Will stays healthy last season, he's an all-pro. I don't know if he'll ever be defensive player of the year like J.J. Watt. But when I'm looking at this young man and his skill set, like J.J. Watt had a very, very, very unique skill set. And that was getting off the line, getting to the quarterback. Getting off the line, getting to the quarterback. Yes, he was very, very, very disruptive from the defensive end position. I know. I covered him. I watched him. J.J. Watt, yes, I understand. When you look at the Mount Rushmore for Houston Texans, of course, you got to start with Andre Johnson and J.J. Watt. Those two are staples. But if Will stays on this trajectory, because the difference between Will Anderson Jr., and J.J. Watt, Will can be disruptive with his hand in the dirt. Will can be disruptive standing up. Will is quicker. He's faster than JJ. And his football instincts are quicker than JJ's. I know y'all finna be mad at me. Y'all gonna be like, Sarge, you tripping. Y'all gonna clip this up. That's cool. I don't care. You know, I stand 10 toes down. So my feet are always hurting because I'm always standing on business. Last 2 years ago, 2 years ago, when I'm sorry, 2 years ago, when the Texans played the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round of the playoffs and they lost. After the game, in the locker room, Lamar Jackson said to me, I didn't know he was that damn fast. I didn't know Will was that damn fast. That's what he said. He said, I didn't know he was. He said, it's hard to catch me. I didn't realize he could catch me. He said, and I know that I'm probably faster than him in a foot race, but with his speed and the angles that he takes, and he has long arms and strong hands. He says, so when he reaches out, you may have the angle on him, but his arms are so long that when he reaches out, he can grab you. And if he grabs you, he got you. He has the speed to get to where he needs to and then be disruptive. But he also has the arm length and the strength in his hands. And you've heard him talk about this on numerous occasions last season, how Daniil Hunter has taught him how to make his hands stronger. He reaches out and he grabs you. When I'm watching Will, right? When I'm watching Will Anderson Jr., he gets off the ball so fast, like he almost knows the snap count. And once he comes off the ball, once the ball is snapped, his ability to recognize everything that's going on is top tier. Like it's top level. Like you've got to put him up there with some. You've got to put him up there with some of the young and up and coming. Like, let me see, who can I say? Like, one thing I like about Dallas Cowboys edge rusher, linebacker, Micah Parsons is he's also able to do that. He's also able to read and recognize real quickly. Who else? Max Crosby. He does that. Who else? I'm trying to think of some of the other edge rushers in the league that does that. But Will is a different type of dude. So with that being said, right? With that being said, all I'm saying is it's different watching him in person because of the way that he is able to read and react. And so as I'm watching him today, I'm saying to myself, wow. Another thing, here's the funny part about it too. Because I remember asking defensive line coach Rod Wright about Will when we were in Greenbrier. And he said, one of the things that's going to make Will so dangerous now is we've taught him and he self-taught himself that everything isn't fourth and inches, that everything is not fourth and inches. So you don't have to be in a rush to do everything. He said in year 3, the game is really starting to slow down for him. And he's really able to read and recognize better. And I'm saying to myself, well, damn, the first 2 years. So if he's gotten better at that, he says he's been able to slow the game down. And he realizes that you can't make every play. And you don't have to make every play. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, that's all we care about. So I say that to say, man, Will Anderson Jr., and I've been watching him throughout OTAs, minicamp, training camp. And I'm saying to myself, Will is somebody, and he'll tell you, hey, stop playing with me. You know how many times I've heard Will Anderson say, run that shit to the other side? Hand over heart. Hold on for a second. Will Anderson Jr. has screamed out, run that to the other side. Don't try to run it over here. Don't try to do that over here. Carolina Panthers saw that in real time and in real life in that joint practice on Thursday. Derek Stingley Jr., monster. We already know that though. He's an all-pro. The linebackers looked good today. Henry looked good. Henry had an interception. Aziz had a forced fumble. Stingley had an interception. Like I said, he got beat on one play. You're gonna see that, but I think it was a miscommunication from what I say. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look at the video again. But in real time, it looked like a miscommunication. So, but the linebackers played very well today. In the second unit, they played well too. So let me pause for a second, right? Hold on for 1 second before I jump on the other side and start talking about the offense. The Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers are an interesting team, right? The Carolina Panthers are an interesting team. And I'm going to tell you what I saw on Thursday. For as much scrutiny and criticism as Bryce Young took last season? Season 4 last 2 years ago. When did he get benched? What year did he get benched? His first year, his second year, he got benched, and then they brought him back in, and he played well. But what I seen from Bryce Young on Thursday, and probably what I'm going to see on Saturday, is Bryce Young he's starting to look the part, y'all. He's starting to look the part. He's starting to look a whole lot better. He's starting to, you can tell, it's almost like it's clicking now. And the one thing that I was really impressed by, because Bryce Young he's a small guy, right? He's small in stature, small in height, small in weight. And what used to bother him, especially when he got into the NFL, was the amount of big bodies around him and the traffic. And he couldn't navigate. He couldn't navigate through the traffic like that. But watching him now, he has learned how to navigate through the traffic. He's learned how to navigate through the traffic. He's learned how to use that to his advantage to get into spaces where most quarterbacks are too big to get into. Like he's learned how to maneuver himself and use his body to get into spots to be able to see the passing lane or where he wants to throw. And I'm going to tell you what helps that. One of his wide receivers is 6'4". The other wide receiver is 6'3". So Xavier Leggett is 6'3". Ted McMillan, the rookie out of Arizona, is 6'4". You're wondering why I'm telling you about these two guys, huh? Hey, Ted McMillan and Xavier Leggett, they gonna be hell in the NFC South. I'm just watching them in general, just watching the way that they go about coming off the line, getting into their routes. Like those two young men are going to be good. Putting those two wide receivers around Bryce Young is going to help him out a lot. And especially, because a lot of people are already counting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as the hold on. No, I can't do that. A lot of people are already talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being the NFC South champions, right? And if not them, it's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. And a lot of people have the Carolina Panthers coming in third. And, I don't know what the hell they're doing in New Orleans, but it's neither here nor there. I still can't understand why New Orleans didn't take Shedeur Sanders. That's crazy to me. But they got them just above the New Orleans Saints and below the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know what the defense is going to do. I don't. But I know that offense doesn't look bad at all. And Bryce Young is learning how to navigate and how to do things that he needs to do in that offense. And it looks It looks good. And they got running back. Who's over there? Chuba Hubbard. I think Chuba Hubbard, and they also have ETN. What they got over there? I thought they had Chuba Hubbard. Oh, and they got Rico Dowdle out of who came from the Cowboys. I want to see what Jimmy Horn Jr. is going to do. They got the 12-year veteran and Adam Thielen, but they got Trevor Etienne out of the rookie out of Georgia. I like him. And what number? There we go. That's what I thought. I thought they had Chuba Hubbard. So that's what I was impressed by. I was impressed by watching Bryce Young, and I was impressed by watching the two wide receivers and the way that they work. I like the way that they work. I like the way that they move. I like the way that they do things, and I like the way that they operate. So Carolina Panthers is not going to be bad. I'm looking to see what's going to happen on Saturday in real time because the starters are probably going to play a lot on both sides of the ball. But I want to see, because I know that the Texans are not going to play the Panthers in the regular season. But it's just good when you got these type of joint practices, just like when they have the joint practice against the Detroit Lions. I'll be looking at what the Detroit Lions are doing, some of what they're doing. So, yeah, I like I like what I'm seeing from the Carolina Panthers. And their offense don't look bad too. Their offense don't look bad at all. Speaking of offense, right? Speaking of offense, so the offense had its ups and downs from what I was able to see, right? And I'm only talking about what I was able to see. If you go to some of these other Texans content creators pages, you'll be able to see more on the offensive side of the ball than what I witnessed. I witnessed more of the defensive side of the ball. Like I said earlier in the show, I witnessed a lot of the defensive side of the ball, not as so much as the offensive side of the ball. But I did get an opportunity to watch some of the 11 on 11s from the offense. And I have to say this. I don't know if it's going to be because, I don't know if having Joe Mixon back is going to change it. I don't know if getting Joe Mixon back will change the Texans running game. I seen some flashes, but that was from the second team. I seen some flashes from the second team. Their run game has got to be better. They have got to get that run game better. Joe Mixon, and I can't see your name on Jacob. Jacob is asking on TikTok Live where Joe Mixon is out with the lower leg injury. He's rehabbing that. We may see Joe back in practice next week. We may see him back next week, but I don't think that he'll play in preseason game. I don't think that he'll play. I don't think he'll participate in the joint practice with the Detroit Lions. But I do believe that we will see him back next week so he can get himself acclimated. Because, we almost done, y'all. Training camp is almost done. Training camp is, I don't think y'all realize that. Like, Saturday's game against the Carolina Panthers is the second preseason game. They only play 3 preseason games. Next week, after they practice, and then they practice against the Detroit Lions in the joint practice, then they play them on Saturday. That's it. Preseason is done. Training camp is done. It's time to get ready for the regular season. So I think that they'll bring Joe Mixon back. I'm thinking possibly next week, just so he can get himself acclimated to being back in football shape. I heard that the rehab is going very, very, very well. And so with that being said, this running game got to do better. Unless you want CJ back there throwing the ball 40 to 50 times a game, it's got to be better. It has to be. It has to be better. And when they're practicing against each other, the run game has not been very effective. And now watching them in that joint practice on Thursday, something ain't right. Something ain't right. They got it. Cole Popovich is going to have to get that run blocking scheme a whole lot better. And for some of it may be. Hold on for a second, y'all. Here we go. Let me do this. Here we go. For some of them, it may be. It has to do with getting used to a new offense, getting used to a new run blocking scheme. But that run game, it's got to be better. Passing game looked good today. Passing game looked good. Of course, CJ took some sacks. CJ made some mistakes, but all in all, I like the improvement. I like the improvement that. Hold on, someone is saying, I guess you missed Jawar Jordan's runs. No, I seen Jawar Jordan's run. I got it on tape, but I think that came with the second team. I don't know if that run was with the first team from what I seen. Now, like I said, I didn't see all the offense. So, hey, look, I'm a Jawar Jordan. I'm a Jawar Jordan guy. So I only seen one run, but from what I seen, that run game has to be better. The offense has its ups and downs, but I'm gonna tell you what I was impressed by from CJ Stroud, and it's crazy because the one thing that we've been talking about here on the Texans Happy Hour, but also on the Texans Tailgate Talk podcast, what did we say? Hey, CJ is not going to be going up against CJ is not going to be going up against a lot of top 5 defenses. So when he struggles against his own defense, that's only making him better. So Thursday, I seen a lot of the old CJ Stroud. I seen a lot of there's certain packages and certain plays. There's certain packages and certain plays that CJ just thrives in. Even against his own defense, there's certain plays when you're watching, you're saying to yourself, he likes that play because he always executes. Like on that one, that one can't be stopped. There's some plays that CJ do that just they can't be stopped. No matter what defense you're going to put up against him, he's going against the best of the best on his own defense. There's some plays, and so I'm watching that in the portion of the offense that I did get to see. I seen those plays being ran, and I said, he likes that because what they did, what the Texans did, right? We know that Nick Caley, first-year offensive coordinator, is bringing in his own system. He's installing a lot of his own system. But what I was told by who told me that? Was it Xavier Hutchinson doing the interview? I think it was the Xavier Hutchinson. May not have been Xavier Hutchinson. I forgot which one of those wide receivers I was talking to. I got to go back and find it. He said, but we didn't just totally scrap totally scrap all of Bobby Slowick's plays. Like we didn't just throw all of Bobby's playbook out the window. We kept some of those plays that CJ was effective running the past 2 seasons. Hey, we kept that. We kept that. And with this wide receiver group that we have, those plays are really going to work. And I'm starting to see that. I'm saying, I look like a play from last season. So some of those plays that CJ was comfortable with the last 2 years, they've kept those plays. And so that's what I'm starting to see more and more in training camp. That's what I seen on Thursday. And what I'm seeing is CJ's scrambling ability has gotten a whole lot better. There was a play where CJ scrambled out of the pocket and found Christian Kirk in the back of the end zone against who's number 21? Because I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna tell y'all who, but they were his own his people were dogging him, talking about he always around here talking all that noise like he this and he that. And now look at him getting dogged in the back of the end zone. Nick Scott, safety out of Penn State. CJ scrambled, found Christian Kirk in the back of the end zone, touchdown. Very nice play, too. But that's what CJ has been doing. CJ has been doing a lot of getting out of the pocket and looking up the field. That's one thing that we know that he's been able to do coming out of college. He's also starting to use his legs more again. But one of CJ's strongest attributes was being able to, if he has to get out of the pocket, because he likes to stay in the pocket because he's a big quarterback, so he can observe a lot of things going on. But one of his strengths is getting out of the pocket and still being able to see upfield. He's not getting out of the pocket to run. He's getting out of the pocket to look, to see what's going on. I got to get away from this pressure. What else is down there? Ain't nothing down there. Let me take the ball down and run. Or let me get out of there. Let me see. All right, up right there. Bam. Bam. There's Christian Kirk. There's Nico, who's broken open. We've seen that. We definitely see that when he played against the Indianapolis Colts. We definitely see what he be doing against the Colts. But I like that. I like the fact that Hutchinson took a big hit from. I got to use my, because I don't know the Carolina Panthers players like that. He took a big hit from Travion Morik, safety out of TCU, number 7. So Travion Morik put a big hit on Xavier Hutchinson after he caught the ball. I'm gonna tell you what I like though. It wasn't so much that Hutch jumped up and let him know, hey, bro, that hit didn't affect me. It was Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz was like, hey, we're not playing those games. And even though it was just a small skirmish, right? Little small kerfuffle. Dalton Schultz was like, we're not playing those games. We can do we can do whatever we can do whatever on this field, but you're not finna just we're not playing them games. If you want to play those games, then cool. Because those dudes on the other side of the field, if we teeing off on each other, if that's what we're gonna do, we're gonna tee off on each other. Don't worry, I can get the word over there that they teeing off on us over here. Hello, wife. I can get the word that we teeing off. I mean, because we're gonna over here, we gonna get down and dirty, but I'm gonna let those dudes over there know, hey, it's time to get down and dirty. Now I'm pretty sure D'Amico would have stopped that, but I like the fact that Dalton Schultz came to the aid of Xavier Hutchinson and let them know, hey, it ain't going down like that. Not today. This is good, y'all. And I'm just glad to be back. One of the biggest surprises during training camp has been the emergence of Davis Mills, the backup quarterback, and wide receiver John Mechie. Here's the funny part about it. I don't know if Mechie's going to make this team or not. I don't know if John Mechie is going to make this team or not because of the amount of wide receivers in the wide receiver room. You know, when you're looking at players you look at Nico, you look at Higgins, you look at Noel, you look at Kirk. You know that's 4. You look at Hutchinson, that's 5. And then you start getting into the dog pile fight between Justin Watson and Braxton Berrios and John Mechie. And I will say this. I don't know if he's going to make the team. Should he make the team? Yes. On Saturday, when you're watching the game and Mechie's in the game, is one thing I want you to watch. I want you to watch his route running. John Mechie is probably one of the best route runners on that Houston Texans team. I don't know. No, maybe. Mechie is a route running technician. And because he's been behind the eight ball so much, and what I mean by being behind the eight ball is, he had to deal with the cancer when he first got in his rookie year. His second year, he had to deal with his second year, he dealt with recovering, coming back on the field, but still, having been through chemo and radiation and things like that. Um, and now he's going into his third year. And so this is almost like the make it or break it year for John Mechie. He came in, he's totally different. He's totally. I'll answer that in a second, Senor Bobole. His body is totally different. He's gotten faster, he's gotten quicker. You could tell that he's fully recovered from what he went through his rookie year. And he can catch. I don't know why people don't realize that. And he knows what's being said. He knows what's being said about him. And had an opportunity to speak with him during the exit interviews. And I think I'm going to go back and put that back out so you all can hear what he said about going into the offseason and some of the things that he needs to work on. But in this Nick Caley system, for him and Davis Mills are on the same page. Mechie and Mills, they are on the same page and they're thriving. I'm going to be honest with you. They don't have too many mishaps. Mechie and Mills, they don't have too many mishaps, and that could be with the familiarity of them playing with you. Because Mechie plays first and second team, he gets first team reps as well, so that could be part of it. But Mechie, I know I'm rooting for Mechie. I know that I'm rooting for Mechie to make this team because I remember what a healthy John Mechie looks like coming out of Alabama. I remember. Now, he didn't come out of Alabama healthy because I think he got hurt in the SEC championship game. But I remember what a healthy John Mechie looks like. And I think that it was so that year him and Bryce Young played together. I think the first 3 or 4 games, they weren't on the same page. But after they lost to A&M, they got on the same page and it just took off. So I like what Mechie and Mills are doing. I like Mechie's having a strong camp. I've been saying that for a very long time. You got to nowadays, you got to preface some of that stuff and go back and repost and reshare so people won't say Sarge just now getting on the train. I said that a long time ago. No, we're not doing that. I also like the connection between Braxton Berrios, and I like the connection between Braxton Berrios and Mills. I like that. I like what they're doing. I like the way that they're playing. I like that. I like overall what Mills is doing. There's still some improvements that he can make. Of course, there's some improvements that he can make, but he looks a whole lot better. What's this, year 5 for Davis Mills? Year 5. Davis Mills came in some adverse situations. The team was bad. The team was terrible. He could always throw. He just had happy feet. He just got too rattled in the pocket. But now heading into year 5, he looks like he is okay. Well, let me go back to saying this about Mitch because Oville just asked me a question. Will they move on from Mitchie because of what he can get in trade capital? That may be one of the things, but I'm thinking to myself, the Texans has had bad luck when it comes to the wide receiver position the last 2 seasons. I'm not trying to say or jinx the team and saying, oh, they're going to go through wide receiver injuries again. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that the last 2 seasons, the Houston Texans season has ended because they don't have wide receivers. You have Nico Collins and everybody else, a bunch of young receivers trying to do what they do. Against Baltimore, if they would have had, Tank would have been able to be on the field. If Tank would have been able to be on the field in Kansas City, they may have beaten them in the playoffs. They may have been able to beat Baltimore in the playoffs. Because a lot of people never say this. And look, I think somebody said something about the Baltimore Ravens earlier. I like the Baltimore Ravens. I like the Baltimore Ravens. I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan. I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan. I don't have any bad things to say about the Baltimore Ravens. But when you go back and you look at that game, that divisional game after the first season, remember now, remember, score was tied 10-10 at the half. The Texans got beat by a war of attrition. And what I mean by war of attrition is they just didn't have enough athletes. They didn't have enough athletes. They didn't have enough stamina to continue to play the way that they played in the first half to be able to, control some of that stuff that the Ravens were doing. I mean, they only had one touchdown, and that was, I think, a special teams touchdown, but it's tied 10-10 at the half. Against the what they lose 23-14 was the final score against the Kansas City Chiefs 23-14. And it took a lot from the Kansas City Chiefs to be able to beat them in that game. But when you only have one wide receiver that the defense can roll the coverage towards, and then you have, you got Mitchell, you got Hutch, trying to do what they do, second year in the league. Because I think it's Hutchinson. Yeah, Hutchinson's third year as well. So you don't want to end your season again. And I know, you went out and you got Christian Kirk. You went out and you got you drafted Jaden Higgins. You drafted Jalen Noel. So you may be able to have a better, support when it comes to that. But you also want to be able to keep around a veteran or two who's been in this league, who's played in those high pressure situations, who has performed. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that when you look at, John Mechie, and is he going to be the odd man out? Or are they going to trade him? I'm saying to myself, you may be giving up a valuable asset. But then again, I mean, Braxton Berrios brings a lot to the team. I don't know if Justin Watson, make sure I got his name right. Yeah, Justin Watson, he's a veteran. He hasn't done anything that has really been standing out to me, but Mechie has been standing out. Of course, we know Jalen Noel has been standing out, but Mechie has had a really good camp. Mechie is doing he's making it hard for them to just say. I put it like this: if they were going to get rid of Mechie, they probably should have got rid of him last year, because his training camp last year, he didn't look good. He did not look good. And when we were in Ohio, he struggled. He had some struggles. And so this year, he's having his best camp. Like he's having the last year's camp was bad. This year's camp, he looks good. So I'm curious to see what he's going to look like on Saturday. And I know that he's going to get a lot of playing time on the last game against the Detroit Lions. And I remember somebody saying if Mechie was still in with the third team and the fourth team against the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm saying there he ain't in there because he a third team or he a fourth team, and he's in there so he can get more reps, so they can see what he looks like and give him more reps. When we're gonna make roster cuts, team's gonna rate our cuts. Yep. Somebody said on a TikTok live. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on so I can't see your name. Samurai says that when we make roster cuts, teams are gonna rate our cuts. Yeah, they are. Teams are gonna rate the Texas cuts. The Texas is gonna lose some talent, y'all. I'm telling you right now. Because everybody can't make this team. They're going to lose some talent. And when they lose talent, people are going to pick them up. It's just how it goes. All right. My wife has come home. And I know that we're supposed to be somewhere. I don't remember what time it is. Is it really? Dang, it's almost 6:30. All right. So before I get up out of here, y'all, I told you all this, right? So once again, you tune to the Texas Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, the Houston Texans actually played the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. And I don't know if you all remember what happened pregame. Pregame, wide receiver Tank Dell was on the field. And former NFL wide receiver, who was a very, very good wide receiver, Steve Smith Sr., talked with him on the field. I wrote an article about it and everything. And I got an opportunity to speak to Steve Smith when he was in the press box. And I said, "Hey, man, what'd you tell Tank?" And he said, "That's between me and Tank. But if you know anything about Steve Smith Sr., and I do, because I think he came to cover a game. Was it I forgot which network he was with, but I think it was a Thursday night game between the Eagles and I think it was that Thursday night game on Amazon against the Eagles and the Texans. But anyway, a couple of years ago, I talked to Steve Smith Sr. for about a good 10 to 15 minutes. About a good 10 or 15 minutes. And he's a real good dude. Matter of fact, we weren't even talking about football. We talking about his son playing basketball. And I asked him, "Do you help?" He's like, "No, I can't play no basketball. I'm a hack." And so I knew when he told me that about, you ask Tank, I ain't gonna tell you. I knew if I just waited a couple of minutes, he'd tell me. And he did tell me. I'm gonna see if I can find that article on Texans Wire and reshare it. But Thursday, Steve Smith Sr. was out at practice, right? Steve Smith Sr. was out at practice, the joint practice between the Texans and the Panthers. And so he was standing there talking to two of my colleagues that work in the Carolina market, two young ladies who are, whew, those two, Carolina Blitz and Sheena Quick. Those two, go and follow them. Go and follow them. Those two, they are on it. Their coverage is amazing. Those two young ladies do an amazing job. So they're talking to Steve Smith Sr. And so once they finished talking to him, I said, "Mr. Smith," he looked, like, "What's up, Sarge?" I said, "Let me ask you a question." He said, "What you got?" I said, "What you think about Jalen Noel?" He said, "I could tell you about Noel." He said, "But I hope you keeping your eye on Jaden Higgins." I said, "Okay." And then he proceeded to tell me some things that I won't say off the record. He told me some things off the record. And I was like, "All right. So I'm gonna hit you up. And if you're right, I'll tell you you're right. But if you ain't right, I'm gonna tell you ain't right." So then he proceeded to tell me about Jalen Noel. He said, "The one thing that makes him so good is his ability to be able to get in and get out of breaks." He said he can get in and get out of the route, and he's not afraid to take a hit. He said, "So when you tough like that, then all you're worried about is making sure that you're available for your quarterback. If you can get in and get out of your routes, then you know exactly what you need to do. If you ain't afraid to take a hit going across the middle, if you ain't afraid to take a hit, you know, doing a route and catching the ball, trying to get upfield and get more yards. If you ain't afraid to do that, you're gonna make it in this league." And he says, "When I look at that young man, that's exactly what I see." He said that young man, he basically said that young man got it. But he's really high on Noel, and he's really high on Higgins. But he sees a lot of Higgins. I'm sorry, he sees a lot of Noel Sees a lot of himself in Noel. Because I don't know. Have y'all ever? For those of you all who's gotten a chance to, for those of y'all who's ever gotten a chance to see Jalen Noel in person, he's not a small guy. Like he's small in stature. He's small as far as height is concerned, but he's solid. What does he weigh? Jalen Noel is 5'11", 201 pounds. He's a solid 201 pounds. And he's not afraid to take a hit. That's the part that blows everybody away because he'll put himself in position to be where the quarterback needs him to be. Hey, you need me to be right here? I'm gonna be right here. I'm gonna catch this ball. I don't care about who's around me. I don't care. There's bigger defenders around me. I don't care. I'm gonna be here and catch the ball. And if I can only get these 2 yards, I'm gonna get these 2 yards. But I'm trying to get 8. And his drive, will, determination to get to where he needs to get to. Somebody put he is basically Steve Smith. Exactly. And that's why Steve Smith Sr. is so high on Jalen Noel, because he sees a lot of himself in Noel. He's seen a lot of himself in Tank Dell from a different perspective. And like I said, I'm gonna put that because I don't remember the actual quote, but it's in the article that I wrote, and I'm gonna put that out so you all can read it. And because I don't want to butcher the quote, but he likes. I know for one, he likes Tank Dell's heart. He likes his toughness as well. Well, he looks at Jalen Noel and he says, "Yeah." And that's the one thing that stood out for me too. That's the one thing that stood out for me is he has that he is that he's a rookie. Don't get me wrong, he's a rookie. He's still learning. He's still learning the offense. He's still learning the ways. But one thing that he does, and I had an opportunity to speak with Jaden Higgins. I'm gonna put that interview out. I'm gonna put that interview out on YouTube today. So make sure you subscribe to the Texans Tailgate Talk, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk YouTube channel. I'm gonna put that video, that exclusive interview out with Jaden Higgins today. And he talks about him and Noel's work ethic, because they're some of the first ones to hit the field and some of the last ones to leave the field. I think you all seen some of the footage that I put out when we were at Greenbrier in West Virginia, where I showed you those two, just after practice playing catch. And they play catch a lot, but they talk to each other a lot too. They probably right after practice, they'll get together and they'll make the catches, but they're talking to each other. And you could tell that they're going over a lot of the things that they either messed up on or that they did very well, but they're going over the things before they even go in to watch the tape. And I think a lot of that has to do with the one thing that you got to tip your hat to General Manager and Executive Vice President Nick Caserio for, is that he went out and he got 2 teammates that know each other, that are friends, but that can play their positions and play them very well. And so they know what each other's going to do when they're on the field. When they're on the field together, and that's very rare, right? That's very rare that you can get 2 teammates like that. I remember when the Cincinnati Bengals drafted Jamar Chase. And I told a lot of people, did I have a show at the time? I don't remember. But I told a lot of people, I said, Joe Burrow gonna take off. I was like, what you mean? I said, bro, they went out and got him as wide receiver. He can close his eyes and throw the ball to Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase can run that route with his eyes closed and open him and know the ball is going to be there, because they're on the same page. They know exactly what each other's going to do. And when you get Higgins and Noel on the same side of the field, they already know what's gonna go. They already know what each other is going to do. They already know exactly. All right, bro. I know the play, but I know your tendencies and I know your habits. So I know that whatever you're about to do, I don't need to get in your way, and whatever you're about to do, and they think, and vice versa. That's not getting each other's way, but let's also create a space to where both of us can be effective. And that's what having Higgins and Noel is. But Steve Smith Sr., he really is high on both of those wide receivers. Sideline Sarah, who, by the way, let me make this announcement. I will be making a Texans Tailgate Talk community on X, on the app formerly known as Twitter, but on X. I will be making a community, and Sideline Sarah will be one of the moderators of our community. So it's starting. It's coming. But Sarah says that Steve likes Higgins more than Tet, and that's Tet McMillan, the rookie wide receiver out of for the Carolina Panthers. He talked about it on his podcast before the Panthers drafted him. All right. I didn't know that. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take a look at some of that stuff too, especially leading up to Saturday's game. All right, I gotta get ready to go for my wife. Totally just beat me up. To my TikTok family, hey man, y'all meet me here, man. I need the love and the support here as well. I need the love and the support from you all as well. And I will definitely be back. We'll definitely be able to interact. I talk about y'all all the time. I say follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. But hey, I definitely appreciate the love and support. TikTok family. I'm gonna do something exclusively for you all. I got some coming for you all, probably on Friday, just for my TikTok family. So meet me right back here live. I'm out. How can I? Uh-oh. Let me see how I can do this. Crizzle. I gotta see how to wait. Hold on. I think that might do it. In now. There we go. Woohoo! I did it. You about to go? Okay. Really? You want to take my truck? What, is my truck in a good spot? In a regular spot? Okay, hold on one second. Hey, family. I gotta go with my wife right quick because I don't want her to lose the good parking spot. If it's can I come back and talk to them later on today? My wife said I can come back and talk to y'all. Hey, we doing Texas happy hour after dark. We doing Texas happy hour after dark. I'm gonna be back, y'all. I promise you I'll be back. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Big Sarge.